Hello, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us again. Today, we're going live. We are specifically talking about episode 4 of Interview with a Vampire, season 2. You know everyone, so we're not going to waste your time with introductions. Let's get straight into it because this is the first of 2 episodes that we're covering back to back. All right, so at the beginning of episode 4, I'm just going to go straight into it. Why do Louis and Armand have competing memories of Claudia's performance? Let's go with Brittany.
So they are talking about, if I remember correctly, and at the very beginning, they are talking about her performance. Where'd he go? Okay. They're talking about her performance where she is one. Armand is talking about it in terms of, oh, she's excited about it. And Louis is talking about it in terms of, yeah, but she was over it. Did I do that right?
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause how it went. Yeah, I had a little sip early, so I'm trying to make sure I got that right.
Oh, by the way, uh, oh, I can't play the drinking game. Just to let y'all know. Did we decide whether we're playing the drinking game?
I'm drinking water now.
Okay, good, because that's all I got.
Well, I got this right down here. It's one of my baby drinks.
Oh,
Okay, all right. So it was clear the vampires could sense Claudia did not like performing, and they actually felt for her. The show doesn't explain or show why, but I'm curious about your thoughts. Why were vampires sympathetic to Claudia? Let's start with Corey.
So I think that they kind of related to Claudia in a way because they also knew the pressures of constantly having to perform and having to perform night after night the same bit over and over. However, in their bits, they're allowed to be who they are in terms of being an adult. She is forced at this point, they know she's a child. She's forced to play a basically a humiliating character every night over and over and over again. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, it's getting rave reviews. So that means they want to continue to do it, right? So it's almost like she is making fun of herself while dealing with the trauma of herself at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Brittany?
that was good. Yes. That's exactly what I think she's going through, Corey. You are so right. I cannot imagine being stuck in a 14-year-old's body
Nope.
for over 100 years. Like that. Was it it had to be like 60 years at that point, I think. 50 or 60. Was it that long?
So this is the 40s. She was turned.
Oh, it was
The
the 40s?
early 20s, maybe?
Yeah, yeah,
She was
yeah.
turned in the 20s or the early
I don't think it's been
1800s?
like 20 years.
20s.
20. Okay, so she was
In
in
this
her,
show, the 20s.
okay,
So
so
she's
she
like
was
30 something.
Yeah.
in a 14-year-old body,
Right.
wanting to wear the fashion, wanting to have a love, wanting to have a partner, wanting to have breath.
Mhm.
Girl,
Okay.
Wanted to be touched.
hello. I was a person who budded late. Trust me, it's an issue.
I guess that's why for me, I can 100% see like when she first started this show, she just felt like really good to be a part of this whole new coven, and it was just exciting for her. But having to play that baby child out over and over and over, like yeah, it became humiliating. But I also it confuses me sometimes because even though she's 14, I mean I work with 14-year-olds every day, and they look like women. They don't look like little girls, and so that's
Nowadays.
why. Right. So from like the audience perspective, I'm like, is it really that bad? But knowing on the actual show and in the book, she's really a little girl. That's a lot for her, and to have to relive that over and over.
In
One thing about it
Santiago,
too that I thought was weird was the fact that how they were sympathetic, but I kind of feel like they also were mocking her in a way too.
yes.
It wasn't all just they were, it was a mocking. It was a making fun of because of I think at this point in time they knew she was lying about something that she was holding some things back, but I also think it's because they didn't like her really. Really.
Mm.
They did not like her.
Why do you
Hell
think
yeah.
I don't know if so much. I would say that they didn't like her as much as it is she's considered an abomination. So like she was humble coming into the coven and wanted to belong so bad. I feel like maybe they had some kind of conflict there because it's hard not to like Claudia. She's humble. She's going to do the grunt work. She's going to enjoy it. She just loves being a part of the team, but then she can't help being made. So she's in essence an abomination. So with vampire law in play, okay, we don't like the abomination, but this is our little sister. It's kind of like hazing. We have her doing these things, but there's a purpose for it. So I wouldn't say that they don't necessarily like her. It's just what she represents.
So if everyone else could at least sympathize with Claudia, why didn't Armand? Let's go with Erica.
With Claudia?
Correct.
I think it's because he's too old and he's seen it all before. I think he knows how to detach himself from things before they go awry. I think he already knew what it would end up like, and it was just a matter of time. Because literally, how long can a person live in a child body? And not have an adult mind and think adult things and want to do adult things and then look at people crazy when that's not happening. Because you're going to continue to be treated like a child for hundreds of years. I don't think it. And also, I think that he didn't like. He said something about them being made at that age. She's basically trapped in the erratic puberty stage. Her mind is constantly like, sure, she's mature, she's a woman in ways, but she's still gonna have a reaction that a child would have because she's still a child. I think he just thought it was a nuisance. I don't think he hated her. I just think he knew what it was going to be eventually anyway, so he didn't waste his time to be bothered with it.
H-Town Fifi?
I think that I agree with you. I also think that it was one of those situations where he lost control. He had been able to be in control of this coven for I don't know how long. And so the fact that he's actively allowing this rule to be broken and it's going to get found out eventually, even if they don't all know their backstory, it's going to be found out. And like, that's the way I think he's going to lose some of that power. He can kind of get away with it with Louis, but once they find out for sure that Claudia, how she was made and all these things, I think that's going to take away all of his power. He already has the other three vampires. What's the one? The one who's the bigger actor?
Santiago.
Yeah, he's already like, something's going on. Like, and I'm about to get to the bottom of this, and I need y'all to start following me. So I think it was a situation like that where Armand knew he was about to lose everything almost.
Okay, so that leads me to the next question. When Santiago asked if Louis and Armand were companions and they gave opposing answers, how does this impact the coven? Let's go with, I want to go with Corey. I'm really interested in what Corey has to say here.
I think it kind of creates a state of confusion, kind of like, so are you or aren't you? What's going on? Are you part of are you in? Are you out? Are you with our leader? Or are you not with our leader? Does anybody really know what's going on? But it also kind of speaks to the nature of, Louis' attachment, his attachment to Lestat still at this point. Because Lestat still has a place on him, and this is prior to I think is this prior or after the bench scene?
Oh, this is well before the bench.
This is before the bench scene, so he hasn't processed that yet, right? He hasn't processed it yet. So, and I still think there's a part of Lestat that's always going to be with Louis because that's his maker, and so no matter what happens, Armand is always going to be competing with Lestat, at least right now, because this is his first relationship after Lestat, right? In 600 years, that may not be the case, but right now,
that guilt.
Right. And then there's a guilt factor.
Brittany?
So I agree with Corey. I think that it is a complicated situation and they're trying to figure out exactly what is going on. And it's hard to figure out what's going on when the two people involved don't even know what's going on.
Right.
So they're sitting here like, what? And now they're looking to Santiago because there's this gray area where there's confusion, and they don't want confusion. They want stability. And Santiago is stability.
I think it's a chin check from the coven. I feel like it's a chin check to Armand and Louis because, okay, wait a minute. Who is he? Because he's allowed to come here at the shows, had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to be sitting up here reading.
That is.
Okay, so let's go ahead and conceptualize, put a name to this. What y'all doing? Because he's sitting here reading the book, and if it was anybody else, you would have drained him and left him for dead. So,
see, that's his real problem. Right. His real problem is the fact that how Armand dealt with all these other people that were killed for lesser infractions and lesser things. It's a double standard, right?
But so he's sitting up in here with his New Orleans Duke waving hair, legs crossed, reading the book.
And not crossed at the ankles either.
Lap crossed. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? The ultimate disrespect.
The disrespect.
Absolutely monomaniacal. Okay.
Okay, so when Armand and Louis were talking about the status of their relationship, Armand said he keeps Louis' secret. Was Armand blackmailing Louis? Bearer of men.
She ain't gonna be for Louis. Why
that's
you
your boy.
that?
That's your boy. That's your boy. Let me see how she about to clean this up. Go ahead.
Clean it up.
Let me mute.
First of all,
look. Here it comes.
We're gonna start there.
No
Second of all, I feel like here goes Armand thinking we in a relationship. This is just like if you smashing somebody and y'all thinking all this time y'all smashing, y'all in a relationship and not one of you lie and say you ain't been there. Thought we was together, only to find out in front of everybody who cares to me. We ain't in a relationship, and I'm up here keeping your funky ass secrets. When I could have let them kill you weeks ago. Weeks ago, I was supposed to kill you myself. Real talk.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but was he blackmailing Louis?
I don't think it was blackmail. I think he's like, why am I keeping your secrets?
Was it white male, Hispanic male, Arabic male?
Because he was holding it over his head. That's what he does.
Was it even male? It don't even look like a package. It don't even look like a package.
See, this is the beginning of it right here. This is the beginning of the Armand delusion. And then
it ain't delusion. Why am I keeping your secrets if I ain't your man?
Fifi, come on, what you got?
Okay, wait. Ask the question again.
Okay, all right. Where is it?
Is Armand
blackmailing?
Yeah, when Armand and Louis were talking about the status of their relationship, Armand said he's keeping Louis' secret. Was he blackmailing Louis in that moment?
I don't believe that he was blackmailing him. I really don't. I think it goes back to once the coven finds out that I knew this, how does it look back on Armand, considering he is the one who created all these rules for the vampires? He's the one in charge. I think it takes away his position. I don't know that he's blackmailing him. I think he's trying to save himself.
Why would he take that on? Why would he take that on for somebody that he doesn't think he with?
I do think he cares for him though. I think he loves him and all those things. And I think that there's a part of him, and we haven't got to this yet, but I think it's a part of him where he's a little bit jealous and wanting to have something that Lestat had because of how Lestat did him and left him. I don't know. I don't know that he's blackmailing him though. I don't believe that.
It's more he's threatening him.
It's leverage.
It's leverage.
It's not
something to hold over his head.
No, it's hurt. I'm keeping your secrets.
How he hurt?
Ah,
Okay, so if a boy
This
drop off it, you put it on his zipper, right? I'm talking
Yeah.
about not going to pound town all the time. You in love. You in love. One hand on throat, other hand, a foot on the back of the head. He giving it to you. You is in love. You is in love. I'm keeping your secrets. He come to you. He asked you, hold the pistol. I'm holding the pistol.
they ask you in front the they ask you in front the whole coven.
Why you being weird to me? That's what I think that was. Also, I was saying. Now Louis acting weird. Now he acting brand ass new. That's all I'm saying. One hand on throat. Foot back of the neck. Come on now.
okay. So first, I really do believe that this is emotional manipulation. Also, I want you to remember, like right after that, Armand said, I think of the vulnerability of an object before I use that object.
Say it again. Wait, what you said?
So right after they had that conversation
say
about
that.
the status of the relationship, Armand said, I think about the vulnerability of an object before I use that object. That object meaning Louis, he thought of what was most vulnerable to Louis, and he used it against him when he asked that question.
Mm.
So that's how you feel. That's how you interpreted that.
100%. 100%.
I totally agree.
100%. All right, so let's move.
Why you
Let's
being
move.
weird to me?
Well, you know what? There are two ways to look at the same situation, and I get it. All right, so after asking Louis if he is schizo, and Louis said no, Daniel said he was my biographer, my therapist, my murderer. Does Daniel believe he's also going to die?
I don't think Daniel knows what to believe at this point because he's having that moment where he's still having those thoughts of San Francisco running through his head. So he's scared more than anything I think for the first time because he's been big body. I'm motherfucking Daniel. I'm asking questions. I'm interviewing y'all bitches. Y'all done brought me here because I'm the shit. And now at this moment, all these thoughts are going through his head. He's seeing a dead body. He's thinking like, what's going on? Am I okay? Am I safe? Or am I going to die here in this moment?
Right. Who do y'all think he's scared of the most? Armand or Louis?
Louis.
I think he's scared of Armand.
Y'all think Armand?
You think
I think right now, in this moment, he's most afraid of Armand.
Armand, because in his mind, I think he sort of thinks that Louis is a little off, and we know he is off at this point in time, and there's reasons for that. So he not too worried about Louis at this moment. It's Armand that he's concerned about. But then I also think that Daniel, as a way to accept this interview, has come to terms with his own death anyway already, right? He recognizes that he is unwell. He recognizes that he's on a potentially borrowed time. So this is another way for him to kind of recapture some of what he's going to be losing potentially, but also as a way to just kind of continue his legacy and leave a legacy, right? He wants to go out with the bang. He wants to show, he wants to have all that, right? So
all right, so
I'm sorry.
No, you go.
I agree with you because have you ever met people who know that they have like some type of illness and they're just so disagreeable?
Oh yeah, they start
from mouth where you want to pop them in it, but they like, go ahead, I'm dying anyway. Joke's on you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's how he is. He's like, what, you gonna save me and give me the dark gift? Or are you gonna kill me? Either way, I don't give a damn.
That's exactly how he is. That is exactly how Daniel is. I kind of think that in the end they're gonna change the story a little bit, and I think he will be a vampire. That's my personal opinion.
Who you think gonna turn him, Armand or Louis?
I think it's gonna be a situation where he's going to have to ask for it, or it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something like that, or he's gonna reject it and die.
I'd be real mad to be an old vampire though. You can't even. Live your best life.
Purpose.
Well, but here's the thing, though, that they don't show in this like they do in like they've done in other movies and the books. Is like, yeah, you are stuck at that age, but you are the most beautiful, the most whatever you are at that particular age. You're not stuck in decrepency.
Right.
Unless you started that way.
Unless you started that way.
Unless you started that way.
All right, next question, and it's going to I want you all to think about this. So Daniel asked Louis if he was schizo, and this has a whole lot to do with Louis' thoughts about Lestat. So what's going through Armand's mind after Louis asks Daniel, would you like for me to describe what's going on? What's going through Armand's mind when he's hearing Louis describe what he's done to his neck? What he's done, all of that good stuff. What's going through Armand's mind?
So for me with Armand, it's like every given Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, any day. I cannot escape Lestat with you. So no matter what it is, like even in your mental illness, you cannot get rid of Lestat. And so for me, it's I have to keep reliving all of these things with you and this third person in the relationship for decade after decade after decade. It's never over.
What's the
Brittany?
question?
I agree with you. I think he's having to deal with Lestat, and he's also having to deal with Claudia, and he's also having to deal with his brother, and all these other things going through his mind.
But do y'all think that time processes hurt and trauma?
Not with Louis.
Obviously.
And then he's immortal, and he's still, he is still like it happened yesterday with Lestat. So it's like with time, okay, you're allotted an eternity of time as a vampire. So your processing is a little bit off. It's a little off. 100 years might as well be 10 days.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's fresh. It's still fresh. So for me, with Armand, it's like, oh God, this is never ending. You're schizophrenic. You have loved this man so intensely to where it has literally drove you crazy. And I still have to deal with it.
I got to pick up the pieces.
Yeah. I think for Armand, that has to, because even whenever Louis was, going over what he did, Armand is just kind of looking to the side like he probably he knows that Louis loves that, but like to hear him say the things the way he said it, and to know, mind you, at this point, well, that's going into the next episode, but to also know Louis probably never really felt that same way about him potentially. I don't know. That might be like, that's hurtful.
Yeah.
All right, so that leads me into the next question. So a little bit later, Louis says he was severing one bond and knitting another. What are your thoughts about that, bearer of men?
Ask the question again.
Louis says a little bit later, he was severing one bond and knitting together another one. What are your thoughts about that?
I think Louis is hopeful about his strength, but I don't think that he has it. I don't think that he's capable of letting go of anything. Like, I think if Armand died, he'd suddenly be overthrown with emotion, and now he would be the greatest love of his life. I think so. I'm serious. I think Armand is one of those type of people where they don't love you like they're supposed to love you until they're gone. Have you ever been with a person who just could not get it together while you were with them?
Mm-hmm.
But then they come back and they're like, you were the best thing that ever happened to me. I just can't live without you. All the times that we had, you mean the times you was complaining? You mean the times you was cheating? Or maybe the times you was whooping my ass? Which times, Sway? Like when? Then all of a sudden he's gonna romanticize it all. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like he was happy. You weren't even happy. Like
Right.
we watched it. Like he wasn't happy. He was so distraught and torn up. And now that Louis gone, I mean now Lestat's gone, he's obsessed with the love that they had. And it's crazy. But I think it's really because Lestat isn't really gone. I think Lestat is just an asshole who's casting. This is just like the ex that texts you out the blue when you're in a relationship with somebody new.
Interrupting your motherfucking life.
I think with
Motherfucking peace.
and we know I'm not a Louis sympathizer.
Well,
Not-
all of a sudden you
Me
love me.
either.
Now I'm
Me
thinking about
either,
the
friend.
time.
Me
Yeah,
either.
me tripping. Come on now.
But to be fair, with him in particular, I feel like it's a lot harder because that's his maker.
Yeah,
You know,
I
that's
totally
his
agree.
maker. Like
And his lover.
I be wanting to be mad at Louis, but if I deal with the facts, he made you. Like
And it's just a little bit
So why
something more
should-
to their bond than just, oh, I met you at a cafe, right?
Mhm.
It's a little bit more to it. It's just a
He
little
was
bit
his
more
first
to it.
everything.
Right.
Yeah.
He was there and helped him
was first
process
everything.
losing his human family, right? And that particular loss. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, but I also think Louis is also romanticizing a little bit, but it's because of that maker relationship.
and when it was
Yeah,
good,
because
it was
he
good.
really, it's like he's on edge too. Like, wasn't this the episode where he's imagining having these conversations with Lestat, and Lestat tells him, like, I'm going to wait until you least expect it to come back and kill you. Didn't he tell him that? Like, I'm gonna wait until you're your happiest.
Oh yeah, it wasn't this episode. I think
It
it was
wasn't
the
that
previous.
episode.
And so
I think that was
Louis
out of
feels
anger
too.
though.
Mhm.
I think that was out of anger. As much as Louis thinks about Lestat and has that tied to Lestat, I think Lestat feels the same way about Louis.
Mm.
You do?
I do. And we also have to remember, y'all, that although we're seeing a lot of Armand is not the main character in the Interview with the Vampire series. He's not. So
Seems like he's becoming.
he's not. He's not.
Don't do Armand like that. Hold on.
He's not. The Interview with the Vampire series is written by Anne Rice. Is about the vampire Lestat and his workings and dealings with the ancient world and et cetera, et cetera. So he's not he's a footnote.
So Lestat coming back.
He has to come back.
He has to come back.
He
They have
got
such unresolved issues that he has to come back at some point.
Oh, y'all, how you think he gonna come through? He gonna
Well,
be
hold on. Before we get to that,
horrible. He's
before we get to
horrible.
that,
Who cares? Y'all sound like Louis.
hold up. Before we get to that, there's a lot of people that we would like to come back. A lot of people have been leaving us comments. So a lot of people who have subscribed, and just want to say thank you. So Setsunika, yeah, a lot of comments from you. Thank you very much. You made me laugh quite a bit. Also, Obsidian Mermaid, thank you for the comments.
That's
Also,
a cool name.
The MCU's Bleeding Edge, Jeff, thank you.
Amen.
Also, Miss Rixney, thank you. Who else? New subscriber, Uniquely Dramatic, thank you for subscribing. Kev 2020, thank you for commenting. Will Smalls back at it again. Thank you. We missed you, Will. Bellatrix are for kids. Thank you for commenting. New
Oh, that's a
subscriber.
cute name.
New subscriber Nia AAA. Thank you. More from Miss Rixney. Shar Khan, thank you for commenting. Naya, thank you for commenting. New subscriber Cove. Also Kella, I guess it's Kella John, but it's Kella JOH99. Thank you. Who else? More Bellatrix, more anti-munitary. I'm certain I mispronounced that, but thank you for commenting. Who else? Moonjoy, thank you. Royal Chief Architect, thank you. You commented more than once. Miss
Okay,
Rixney
Royal.
again. More Setsunako. New subscriber Don L. Anxiety Rat, thank you for commenting. Shan, thank you for commenting. Thank you all so very much. Really do appreciate it. I see we got some comments in the some comments. All right, so I believe I cut, was it Brittany or Bear of Men that I cut off?
I don't know.
Not sure. But I
Brittany was asking how Lestat was gonna come through.
Oh yeah.
Are they asking us, Jermaine? Are they asking us any questions?
There were a lot of questions. I'm just not in a space right now where I can deal with that because I'm in a new space.
Gotcha.
By the way, y'all,
talking about old questions or current questions?
What'd you say, babe?
Old questions or current questions? Like that are happening live?
No live questions. Come on, what you got? All right, let's go. All right, so why does Santiago retrieve the journal from the rats when Claudia throws it in?
He wants proof.
But he gave it back.
He wanted to keep adding stuff.
Yeah, he had already kind of skimmed it and read it. He already knew what was in it. Plus, I believe that if he was made by Armand, no, he was not. He was not. Okay, never mind.
Armand killed his maker.
He did. I was thinking that he probably could also read minds as well, but he can't, or not that we know.
I think that he wants her to, like, what do you call it when somebody walks into a trap?
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that.
Entrapment?
Yes, thank you. Entrapment is exactly what I think is going on here. I think he wants her to walk herself into that corner and she cannot get out of it. And he's gonna be her friend. He's very manipulative. Because at first I was like, oh, that's her friend. That's so cute. And then I had to look at it and be like, wait a minute, Brittany, you're being naive. Look at Santiago again. Is he really warm and fuzzy like that? He does not give me cozy vibes at all. So there is something going on here.
Okay, next question is for H-Town Fifi. Why is Claudia so fascinated by the French woman?
By the French woman in the shop?
The French white.
I think that she was fascinated with her because, I mean, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. I think that it's the fact that she made something that she called beautiful, maybe. The fact that she was a woman kind of standing on her own in her own shop, handling her business, and didn't need someone there to help her out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's who Claudia wants to be, she's who Claudia would like to be, or would like the opportunity to be. Unfortunately, she won't be able to achieve that because she's a vampire child. But I think that's what it is, and also I think she needs a motherly figure, kind of, sort of, in a way. But I think she's really looking for a friend. In the books, they kind of relate to it as she wanted a motherly figure, someone to kind of be there for her. But I don't think that's the same thing in this story. I think she's just looking for somebody outside of Louis, really.
Man,
I think that she's outcasted in the society she's living in.
Mm-hmm.
And she still gets up every day and she comes into the shop no matter the vandalism. She just keeps going. And despite whatever people think about her, she's going to show up every day. She's going to make her dresses, whether she sells them or not. And she's going to keep on going. Even though she was a Nazi, or is a Nazi, sympathizer.
She was a Nazi lover.
Yeah, the KKK thing on her.
She was in love with a Nazi soldier.
Oh, well, they hate her ass because she's vicariously a Nazi through that thing she took.
He had that Nazi Peter Weeder.
So now you a Nazi. It made you a Nazi too. So you know how life go. So, but regardless of how people feel, she won't stop. She won't stop.
I agree with Bear. She respects that. She was beautifully damaged, and I think that Claudia found that attractive.
It's a kinship, kind of like she relates to it.
And she wanted that feminine energy. All she around is dicks all day. Dick. At some point,
why I gotta be like this though? What?
Not the flaccid energy. Oh
The
no.
bird legs walking around everywhere, slapping
Like they
niggas in
just
the
flying in our face every day, all day.
every day.
Throw
every
us
day.
up out of the fenetra.
All right. So a little bit later in that particular episode, we find Louis at a restaurant. Not only is Louis at the restaurant, but Claudia and all the other vampires of the coven are present. My question is going to Brittany because I haven't heard from you in a little bit. Why did Santiago pick a fight with Louis?
Because he cannot stand his bitch ass.
Why?
That's how he was looking at him. So your motherfucking ass is gonna talk and act like you not from New Orleans.
Right.
Your ass is not gonna be a part of the coven. You gonna sit here, talk about your human friends, your human hobbies, your human tendencies, and not act like you a motherfucking vampire. You get on my goddamn nerves. I cannot stand you. I want you to die.
Yep.
Well, why your ass ain't gotta be in a coven?
Right.
Everybody else here in the coven. Here you go, free. Walking around, breaking rules. I'm
Read
hearing all
books.
this stubborn indoctrination. And this man, I make her breaking all the rules for your punk ass. Who you supposed to be? And you not there.
But here's the thing, though.
You not
Is he wrong? Is he wrong?
No.
He's not wrong.
He's not
He's
wrong.
not
No, he's not wrong at all.
That's how Louis is. But I will say this. When Louis got New Orleans on, that nigga, that's when America showed up. And I was a proud American in that moment. I couldn't trust that bitch because he had you fucked up.
He grabbed him by the tongue so quick. I was
Mhm.
like, yo, what is about to happen? Louis
And,
is not
and what our mom say, Louis, no. And he liked it too. Louis, stop it.
Look, when Louis went from pompous to apex predator. Let's go.
Real quick.
I think, and if
done
they
him.
showed more of
He playing-
that, Louis wouldn't be so.
Annoying,
Yes.
hard to watch, disgusting, irritating.
Well, let me ask this
In
question.
that moment, I was like, oh, I see why they like him.
let me ask this question, and Bear of Men alluded to it, but I want to put it all out on the table, no pun intended. What, if anything, did Louis prove when he went after Santiago, H-Town Fifi?
I think he proved to him, like, hey, like, stop playing with me. Like, I'm actually having grace with you by just shutting the fuck up and trying to live my life. I'm not trying to interfere with what y'all got going on as a coven, but stop playing with me. Because what he did that in front of everybody at this point. And thank God for Armand, who was able to, like, I don't know what he said, rest or whatever. He had the whole, it was like Charmed, where, you know, she could freeze everything.
Yeah.
But I think he proved in that movie, like, I will fuck all y'all shit up. Stop playing with me.
Hell yeah.
Louis said, I ain't no punk.
I cleared this whole motherfucking room out. Keep playing with me.
I love Thug Louis. Okay. Thug Louis is a force to be reckoned with. I love how he showed up on Santiago. He needed to know. And so to me, it was a beautiful scene. You know, the cinematography was everything because everything was still like H-Town Fifi said, like, okay, Armand intervened, but you got the point across. A point was made. I am unfuckwittable. Please understand when I got my legs crossed, that does not mean I'm pussy. Please understand. I will show up on you.
I'm really him. I'm really him.
Yeah.
I'm really him. Y'all better stop playing with me.
Now, if I said I'm from Chicago, go with it.
Regardless if you hear an accent, regardless.
Where I'm from? Oh,
Okay. A later scene at the museum. Armand was proud to show art pieces to Louis, but Louis thought the move seemed too similar to Lestat's grand gestures. Was Louis triggered into asserting boundaries, or was he recognizing the manipulation, Brittany?
Say it one more time, please. I'm so sorry.
Was Louis triggered into asserting boundaries, or was he recognizing the manipulation of Armand because of the grand gesture that he showed?
I think that he's trying to have boundaries set up, in
Explain.
all honesty. So I believe that Louis needs healthy boundaries and structure in order to be the best self that he can be. And without that, it's chaos.
Meaning he needs to do his own human thing. He needs to have
Mhm.
those outlets and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
I hate to be a fence straddler, but I feel like it may be a little bit of both because he wouldn't even put a name to the relationship. So that's like a hard boundary. And then falling in love, you're triggered. Like, hold on, wait a minute. The last time I did this, it went real left. So I think it's a little bit of both. I really do. Like, Armand, you cool and everything, but I don't know. I might need to slow down. So I think it may be a little bit of both.
Barrowman, I saw you shaking your head.
I think when she said that he didn't lay, he would Louis wouldn't even say whether or not he was in a relationship. I think that when he followed up with the right questions to let Armand know, like, what do we really know about each other? What are we really sharing with each other for real?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of be saying we in a relationship, like, you like his name and all these things, like, you don't know.
Let
Like,
me
Exactly.
stop trying to act like it's something it's not without working for it. Like, I need to see the work. I need to see the work.
let me pick up on that. And I'm gonna go to H Town Fifi next. This listen to this real quick. Louis asked Armand who he was, right? Before we talk about this next scene, based on what we know before this next scene, who is slash was Armand?
I mean, listen, I like Armand, but I don't know that he really shows us who he is. We're starting to know more about him now on the most latest episode of who he really is, and he's a crazy motherfucker, I think. But I think that I don't know that we as characters can name specifically like the qualities or his characteristics, because he's also very like coy and shy, and he only gives what he thinks Louis wants, I think, which goes back to your previous question. Like, I think that he was doing all these things for Louis because in his mind, hey, if this is what Lestat did to get you, like, how can I draw you in by doing some of those same things? And so we really don't know who he is. We just know what he's portraying to be, which is trying to act like Lestat to get Louis to potentially fall for him.
Oh,
Okay, all right. Oh yeah. He gives us a story. He gives us his background, right? And a lot of it we've kind of sort of talked about on the show. But what I would love for you to do is I would love for you to recap for us what we learned in that moment about Armand.
So, what moment specifically? I'm sorry.
So when they're in the museum and Armand starts to tell his story about his early childhood, what happened to him, even before he got turned into a vampire, and then shortly thereafter, what is it that we know about Armand?
I'm drawing a blank. Help me.
Corey?
So part of it was the slaver story, his being enslaved, and I want to say there was some violence, domestic violence as well with it. I don't recall the whole story, the whole pieces of it, because I'm not an Armand fan, so I tuned out a couple pieces of it. But the majority of it, the basis of it was he has trauma, right? He also has been hurt. He also has come from a um, hard life in terms of being, you know, his life prior to becoming a vampire, and even
Uh,
afterwards and all that.
All right, so let me just go ahead and describe for you exactly what happened. He was a child slave. Yes, even more, even before. Thank you, your Valentine. Even before he became a child slave, this is what happened. His parents sold him. Didn't
Yeah.
even tell him what was happening, and that is how he got into slavery. All right, now this is what you need to know about Armand. Armand was always very very small, but he was actually larger than he is now, and that's going to play a part a little bit later. So he was sold into slavery. Once he was sold into slavery, Marius saw him. That's a vampire, right? He saw him. He knew everything about him, right? He decided that he wanted this boy, right? So he bought him from the slaver, moved somewhere else. Now, Armand was very, very, very young, too young to be turned into a vampire. Marius was trying to basically hold him until he was old enough to become a vampire. But Armand was smart enough. Yeah, he was grooming him, but he was smart enough to know that something was up with Marius, right? Marius eventually had to tell him that he was a vampire, all the other good stuff. Armand got sick. When Armand got sick, he started to lose weight, right? He kept begging Marius, please turn me, please turn me, please turn me. Marius kept saying no. Armand was sick for years.
Oh, wow.
Okay, for years.
So he was a Rashid.
He was a Rashid. Well, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. So what ended up happening was on the day that Marius died, Marius turned him into a vampire. On the day that your maker dies, he was basically turned into a vampire.
How did Marius die?
Marius died trying to defend everybody at his house, basically. Like people from the village came in and started killing everybody in there because they thought that they were all vampires or vampire lovers or whatever, that kind of stuff.
All this came from the episode?
No, that's from the book. That's from the book.
That's from the book.
The episode doesn't go that
I missed something.
I was thinking it too, but then I started realizing he was talking about the book.
Yeah. But there's real trauma there. There's real trauma there, and that goes into everything that you've been talking about, everything that you saw in that next episode. That feeds into Armand's thinking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Claudia and the dressmaker share their traumas. Britt, can you explain that for us?
Okay. So I can try. So a little bit that I do remember is that the dressmaker talks about how her whole family died from, what was it, tuberculosis? Was it TB?
Yes, TB.
Yeah, her whole family died from tuberculosis. And then but the village didn't really feel that bad for her because she was rich. And so she had to grow up, but she grew up pretty much by herself. And I think she had an uncle or somebody. Okay. She had an uncle or somebody else that took care of her. And then she was alone, but she was still lonely. And while she was still lonely, she ended up meeting a Nazi soldier that came to her village. And while she was with that soldier, he was a young soldier. They fell in love. She was all into it. And then he died, right? And then Claudia was telling her that she kind of had a similar story where her whole family died in the war from an illness. And that's basically what I got from it.
Okay. So basically the two of them were trauma bonding, right? And they bonded. Mm-hmm. We can agree with that. All right. So right after that, Armand, obviously he goes to the dressmaker shop. He takes Claudia out. Armand lashes out towards Claudia. He says most people in his position would have killed her like she killed Lestat. What's happening between these two characters in this moment? Let's go to Bearer of Men.
It's a pissing match. He letting her know
that I know.
Not only do I know, I am sparing you because I love this guy over here. I done fell in love and I want him. I like him and I want him.
And you ain't gonna fuck this up.
But you little wild ass girl, I could have killed you a long time ago. Because I already know where you end up in the long run. Because you ain't growing no time soon.
Claudia.
And what's going on in Claudia's mind?
Claudia is grown and childish all at the same time in that moment.
Exactly. She like, oh, I'm gonna kill Louis.
She's like, it was supposed to be me and you and me. You know, it's you and him.
This is when she realized that he had been holding back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is when she realized that she hates Louis.
Yep.
As much as she loves him, because she can't trust him. He's unstable. And he can't keep his word for nothing. Oh, but I can tell she kind of was like, because like just like Louis, Claudia's been doing her own thing the entire time because Lestat has given them so much freedom that he was never supposed to allot them. He full well knows how covens work because he was he was a co-founder, not really, because some of the old coven members were always a part of Armand's coven, but he brings them into the fold, lets him feel powerful and stuff like that. So as he does that, we know Lestat made all his own rules from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And as he made those rules, he didn't care. He did whatever he wanted to do, always did. And then now he's grooming other vampires to do the same. So Claudia is able to be freely, first of all, not even supposed to exist, but being able to be freely like that with no boundaries, no lessons, no nothing. And Armand is like all about it because that's all he knows. He's like ancient. And he's sick of her childish ass. And I think it's almost like even although she's an adult mind, she's not really compared to a vampire. She's still a child, especially to Armand. So I feel like it was an adult checking a child and the child feeling super, super, my favorite word, betrayed and ready to go to hell off.
All right. So immediately after that, Armand knew Santiago heard that conversation. This is going to Aishan, Fifi, and Elia. Why didn't he kill Santiago right there? Right there. And part of the reason why I want Aishan Fifi to answer this is because of what she said, something she said earlier. Why didn't Armand kill Santiago right there?
I think he couldn't kill him right then and there. I think the entire coven would have come for him. Because
he's the coven leader. He can kill anybody.
Yeah, but at this point, Santiago has people kind of following him. I think that he knew that he couldn't. It would be. I think he thought it would have been like repercussions if he would have done that.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Armand wants to be the coven leader anymore.
Right.
He's over it. He is over it. So Santiago, with your lurking ass, you can have this. You can have it. You can have it. You can absolutely have it. So he wants Santiago to take over. He does.
Okay, we'll hold that discussion for just a little bit later. All right, so I'm calling him Avatar Lestat, right? I'm calling him Avatar Lestat. So Avatar Lestat says that Claudia was a poor decision, meaning turning her into a vampire. All right, so since Avatar Lestat is really a manifestation of Louis' thoughts, has Louis now turned his back on Claudia Corey?
I don't think he turned his back on Claudia. I think he's blinded by his freedom again and by the prospect of a new relationship and just a reprieve from the misery, right? All the while, he's still miserable. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
tortured soul Louis. He turned his back on him. He did. Whether it was intentional or unintentional,
I don't think it was intentional, but yes, he did turn his back on her. And she had every right to light into him like she did. And basically saying she basically told him, you for everybody, and you can forget about us. And you can be you for everybody.
My favorite part when she said that he was stupid. As soon as he got into a relationship. Oh, I forgot. It's because you're stupid. You get with a man and you become stupid. I was like, yep.
How many of us have known people?
You forgot you let Lestat drop you out the sky. I had to all but breathe
you
life
back
back
together.
into you. And here we are.
Oh, you're on
You're
mute.
muted.
I'm so sorry. All right, so picking up from right there, yeah, can you describe the scene between Louis and Claudia after she learns Louis told Armand?
Oh, it
Perfect.
was like the 4th of July mixed with hail and brimfire.
I would have said all that shit.
She was like, okay, you did it again. You did it again. You chose someone over me. It is never me. When am I going to be chosen? It's everybody before me. So I want something for myself. You care nothing about me. You have this man, and so you're willing to blow everything up behind a man. And not only did you do it to add insult to injury, you keep me in the dark. I came here with you. I finally have a coven, a place where I feel safe. Even though I don't love being a child tap dancing on stage every night, at least this is still my people. I found my place and you've ruined it for me yet again. So she is livid. She is really not sounding like a child in this moment, in this dialogue that she's having with Louis. She literally is handing him his ass on a silver platter. And it was a beautiful yet heartbreaking scene to watch because you really, really empathize with Claudia.
Yeah, my heart was breaking for Claudia in that moment because it's like all she wanted, like he made her a promise. She said, hey, you and me and you. And he told her the same thing on the train when they first left New Orleans. And the fact that she hadn't talked to him, y'all, like having to be there with him, but hadn't talked to him in years almost. And she finally gave him a chance again and said, when we in this new place, it's all about us. And the fact that he went back and did the same thing.
He has an addiction. He has an addiction. So it's like a child watching that and trying to nurse your parent, but it's like, hey, can you just parent me? You know, can you just do that? But he's incapable. He's incapable of doing that.
Something about the dick.
And what did she say? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, as soon as he get that ping.
Brittany, Louis asks Avatar Lestat to go for a hunt, but really, it's to shed himself from Lestat. What pushed him over the edge to decide to do this?
So, if I remember correctly, this is right after the moment he is with the photographer, correct? And he's trying to sell his pictures, and he looks at that photo of Armand. And when he looks at that photo of Armand, it's something that he feels like it's time. In order for me to move forward, I got to let you go. But to let you go, I need to tell you that we're going to go on a hunt. I got to tell myself that, so that way you don't know what's really going on. And so they take a long walk in the park. He has Lestat sit down in his favorite suit that he always loved Lestat in. And he looks at him in his eyes and he's like, Lestat's like, wait a minute, we not going on a hunt? And Louis like, no, we're not. And at that moment, he's basically telling Lestat goodbye, and Lestat slowly fades away.
All right. Next scene. Armand and Louis argue over the photos Daniel saw. Question: who put the photos there? Was it Rashid, Armand, or Louis? And give your reasons why. Let's go with Corey.
I don't remember who put the photos there. Who did put the photos there?
They didn't.
We don't know.
I just want.
I kind of think that it may be Rashid, potentially, right?
Why?
Because I like to mess up these people's names. I think it might be Rashid I kind of feel like Rashid is wanting Armand for himself, or he wants to be a part of the world in a way that he's not. I don't think that he's a vampire. I think that he's a human servant. And I feel that he wants to be turned. I've always kind of felt that he wanted to be turned. I do not feel like he is a vampire.
H-Town Fifi.
I think Louis put them there, but he doesn't remember putting them there.
Hello.
Because so many memories are just gone for him. I don't think it was Armand, because Armand is still trying to hide a whole bunch of stuff from Louis. I think Louis had a moment where it's like he comes back and forth from like reality to not remembering what happened. I think at some point he did that to help himself remember the next time he potentially saw them.
That's a good thought.
Yeah, I agree with H-Town Fifi.
Okay. All right. Oh yeah. Any thoughts on that?
We are speaking of the photos that were by another artist, right?
Correct.
I wouldn't be surprised if Armand did it. He has been so duplicitous, and now we're starting to see him show up in all the things that he has his hands in because he's strategic and hiding in plain sight. I would not be surprised if he did that, because Louis, you have to remember, he is in love with Louis, and Louis was doubting himself, especially after going to the art dealer. So perhaps if he's altered some memories, Louis may not remember, hey, this work is not mine. So you thinking, okay, this person turned me down, my art isn't worth anything. Me having a best friend who is always very serious about critiquing their art, I kind of have a little bit of insight on what it's like with artists with their paintings and their drawings. So I don't doubt that Armand threw that in there as kind of like a little boost for Louis. You know, even though this is clearly not your work, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if he slipped that in there. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
I kind of agree with you on second thought. Like, I kind of think that is very in line with the Armand that we know and the Armand that's developing. It wouldn't be Rashid because they haven't really developed his character like that. So it wouldn't really make sense for it to be him. But it definitely could have been Armand.
Like, I love you so much, I'm gonna let you think that your photographs are good.
Right. When they're not, when they trash.
So let me put some real photography in here, so you might know what it looked like when you see it.
So you can get some.
All right.
You're just trying to support your boo, and you just,
Bless your heart.
All right. So let's go into episode 5. So Armand rarely eats. So when he does, he prefers to hunt for it. When Daniel presses him on it, Louis says Armand chooses someone who is half in love with an easeful death. All right. So this is the question: is Daniel future prey for Armand?
I don't think so, because one of the things that he also mentions is that he chooses people who do harmful things to others. And well, never mind. Forget what I just said, because Daniel has done some harmful things to people, and we learn about those things that he did throughout this episode. Okay, never mind. He might be.
Brittany?
I'm thinking like Daniel can't run. He old and decrepit. How he gonna run? Like, it wouldn't be much sport.
At this point, I don't think with Daniel it wouldn't be about sport, because we know what the extent of what happens later is really just about you know what? It's time. I'm tired of playing this game with y'all.
It's time to go.
It's time.
So I'm gonna say this. I've been saying it. There is backstory between Armand and Daniel.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say it. All right. So next question. Armand preserves. So this is something that Louis says after a question that Daniel had. Armand preserves my happiness even when I don't or can't. He had I can't see y'all. He had a punch. You might. Oh, he had a guess. I guess you might prove fruitful.
A hunch.
A hunch. That was the first time that was said in this episode. All right. So I just want y'all to remember. So that was at 7:15. We're gonna come back to that a little bit later. Up until this point, I was happy thinking that at the most, Daniel Malloy might have had one or two sexual experiences with men, but this entire episode now has me believing Daniel was running around in gay prides. Who is Daniel Malloy, Corey?
So I think that Daniel in his youth was more sexually ambivalent. I think he kind of went with the flow. He did a little bit of everything. He liked it all. He liked his pie. He liked, he liked his sausage. He liked a little bit of it all, right? And it was the 70s, and it was a different time, and it was early enough in the 70s that there was still a little bit of free love going on, right? So I think that's who Daniel is, right? He's a little bit of a hippie kind of. He experimented with drugs, and whatever happened, happened. He was down to do whatever in order for him to get his story or for him to get his experience or whatever, so that he can write about it, right? Because he was trying to become an artist, a writer, right? So he was down for the experience. So, but at this point, this point in the story, we're starting to kind of get the question potentially, did he and Louis have a thing going on? And he does ask that question, and I expected the answer to be yes, but
Me too.
Me
I really
too.
expected the answer to be yes. I really did, but I guess that's just not where it was meant to go.
Did you like how we was like, well, did you want it to be?
No, he said, "Do you want to now?"
Right.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, come on."
That was him being a hunter. But listen, in the beginning of the episode, when he was talking, his use of the
No,
word
unless you're gonna
boy
do
and when he was referring
Yeah.
to Daniel when he was first meeting him. So boy.
Boy and country is I don't know what boy.
One of my questions. But y'all, your Valentine, and I would love for Elia to respond to your Valentine. Your Valentine says Armand doesn't leave situations without a bit of cushion to land on. So Daniel might be that cushion as Lestat was, and Louis is. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't disagree with you, your Valentine. Armand has proven to be extremely 10 steps ahead. Even when we think he's this passive person, he knows more than everybody around, especially since he can control minds. So that cushion, I don't disagree with you there. You said so Daniel might be that cushion unless that was able, and Louis is. Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Well, so let me ask this, y'all. Do you think that that's the reason for the tension then? The tension between Daniel and Armand? Or is it just that Daniel sees through Armand's bullshit?
I think you are on point. It's just something, and maybe like even with the mind control, it's just you ever something happened to you and then you can't quite remember, but you kind of had an uneasy
something
feeling.
ain't right.
Yeah, so I think he just kind of has this sixth sense, like, I ain't fooling with you. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but I don't trust you.
I don't trust you, and Louis shouldn't trust you, and
Which is why whenever Armand left to go on this hunt, Daniel was like, how much time we got? All right, I got some other questions for you.
It gives me, I got tea, bitch.
Right?
It gives me.
It gives me before Master or Matra come back. Let's go ahead and get this going.
But wait, y'all, I just want to say this. I think Armand want his story told too.
I like it.
I think that it's not even about sex. It's like you got to sit here for hours telling your little funky side of the story.
What about what I need?
What about what I need? What about
but see, here's the thing. He doesn't get that because he has been poo-pooing this idea from the beginning. So he can't come in at the end and be like, I want to be a part of it and I want my story to be told, because he never wanted Louis to be a part of this from the beginning.
No, he allowed Louis' crazy ass to be a part of this because he's wrapping this shit up quickly. Wrap it up or alone. He's been a part of it the whole time, watching and listening to see how far it goes. I think
You hate
he
Louis
wants to
so
tell his part.
cannot the evidence is right in front of you. You hate Louis.
I don't hate Louis. He's fine.
Okay, you don't hate Louis, but you don't like him.
I think he's weak as fuck.
And because he's weak, you're not looking at the facts. But anyway.
No, the facts are you've been spewing. You had 10, 14, 12, however many hours you stayed up with Daniel, not molesting him as you probably should have, which is what Armand thought you were supposed to be doing, getting your little rocks off and getting high and then coming home. He ain't had it. So all this time you've been talking this yang, but whoever gets Armand's long-lasting story. I think that Armand, although he knows the laws and he's hearing this violin soliloquy from Louis for years and get it out again. I think that Armand is like every once in a while, what about me?
He had that chance when he was in Paris and he didn't want it. It was about him.
He had that recorded. He had that chance to record it. If we standing on record when we standing on business, record my part.
Hey, Sean Fifi, I think
you can't trust his part because he lying and he's scheming.
He's just powerful. Y'all hate us. Y'all scared of strength. That's what it is.
Hey, Sean Fifi, you do you remember what you had to say?
What I had to say about what?
Okay, let's move. All right. So when Louis showed Daniel the coffin, he said, "Does that scare you, boy?" I'm focusing in on the use of the word boy. He uses it quite a lot when talking to Daniel in the 70s. Why did Louis use that language? I really want to hear from Bearer of Men, but it looked like she's on the phone. So let's go to Corey.
I think it's twofold. One, I think it was kind of a sexual innuendo kind of thing, right? He's trying to assert dominance because at that particular point in time, I think he sees Daniel as a submissive kind of, and so I think that's kind of what that first part of that. I also think that this is right after the 60s, and there's that whole race play, thing coming into it. I think that was also a way for him to say, I'm the dominant one in this situation.
That's what I was getting for sure.
For me, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's a couple things, but I can't deny that the younger Daniel and Louis had some sort of tension, some sexual tension, and some sort of chemistry. I mean, Daniel basically was offering it up.
Right. Took his shirt off and everything.
Are we gonna do it in a coffin or
Right.
I can't see you
right. When he first got in, he was like, "Oh, you want me to just pull down?" He just pulled down his pants. He was like,
so that's your kink? Okay.
Right. What you want? Basically, is what he was saying. What you want?
I don't know how turned on we gonna be, but I'm trying to find out. High as fuck.
All right. So a little bit later, Louis says Daniel offered something off the menu. If it wasn't sex or blood at that time, why did he appeal to Louis? Like, what was it about him that appealed to Louis? Let's go with Brittany.
I think that what appealed to him was that he was young, fresh, and eager to learn and open. I think that he could sense something about him was open and yearning and wanting. And he wanted to pinpoint in on that and get his story told. I think he knew that he would be open to hearing his story.
I agree. That's 100%. That was on my mind. So I'm like, he gave him an opportunity to share and to tell his story, which is something he'd been clearly wanting to do for a while.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So your Valentine, as a black man from the South, to use boy so flippant in the same way it would have been used at him, it made my skin crawl. He doesn't have real power over a lot of people in his life. Corey, what are your thoughts about that?
I kind of agree with that, and that's kind of why I was saying it was a little bit of him asserting dominance, right? It's an opportunity for him at this particular point in time to be the aggressor, to be the dominant one, to be the one that is doing the pursuing, so to speak, right? Because there's a few things that are in the play in the situation. Is A, he wants his story to be told, right? But B, he also wants to be the hunter a bit, right? I think there's a little bit of that in it as well. And if we're to be honest, I think he does like Daniel. He does at that particular point in time, he desired Daniel, whether it was just because he thought he was interesting, but he wanted something from Daniel. And I think that in another situation, they probably would have, been doing some other things, right? But the story turns.
I think Daniel has that kind of zeal about him, especially young Daniel at the time, just unapologetic, really crass. I'm diving head first into the concrete. Come wait, what may, what might. I'm gonna make art with my blood on the concrete at the very least. If I just do it my way, you're gonna remember it. So I think he had this type of zeal about him that was just attractive, to Louis, and not necessarily just in a sexual way, but like when he almost gets himself killed by Armand, saying, "Hey, I got more from this boy than I did from you." In years, you bore me. So he needed that excitement that Daniel could offer.
All right. So Brittany, next. I'm sorry.
I was going to say one more thing too, and as a gay man in general, I think how often, many times of us in our youth, have we been excited by the one that's a little bit crazy, that's a little bit dangerous, that's a little bit this, a little bit that, right? Just a little touch of that, and it makes it appealing, right?
Right, because even when Louis told Daniel, "Oh yeah, I'm a vampire," Daniel said, "I'd like to know why you think that you're a vampire." Until when he ran up on him and showed him his fangs, and that scared the life out of Daniel, but he still didn't leave. He was scared as hell, but he was still wanting to learn more.
He hit that coke real fast. He was like, all right, let me do the tape real quick. Okay, hold on.
Let's go.
All right, next question. This is going to Bearer of Men. After Daniel asked to be Louis Lestat and Claudia, but with a few extra parts they don't have, why did Louis decide to attack Daniel anyway?
Rage. I think it was misdirected rage. He just couldn't believe that after he told his story, he just didn't get it. He's telling himself and his story and his torture and his sadness, and nobody can hear it because it isn't there. And to have a human be like, "Man, you got this power and this.
I want that gift.
I want it. You don't know what to do with it. Like, get hip. Get hip." He was like, "I'll kill you." I think he showed him his own weakness, his own suffering. Like, he's such a sufferer, but he doesn't realize you want to suffer. You're willfully sad. You're blissfully unaware. And it's something to be said about people who can't recognize their own despair that's on repeat. Like, you're on total recall. Like, you want to be hurt. You enjoy sinking into sadness, and he does. And like, I think Daniel put that in his face, and it hurt him. And he was like, "Fuck it, I'll kill you."
He's a masochist.
He is.
So let's go with that. Let's go with that. All right. So Armand is hearing all of this. Like, he's hearing Louis talk about let's that. All right. So why then did Armand save Daniel when he first arrived at the apartment? Why did he save him?
What? Say it again.
Why did Armand save Daniel when Armand first arrived at the apartment?
I think it's because he knows Louis' heart. and his brokenness and how he feels towards the human race. Like he doesn't really want to kill them all. He wants to have purpose and methods too. And I think that's where they relate. I think that, Armand's choicey and his delectables and his delectable delights. No, 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 no. He wants to rid the earth of people who just really shouldn't be here anyway. And like that's where they can find like solace together. He like Lestat used to drive Louis crazy because he didn't care. If you were delicious looking, you were a delicious snack. And that pissed Louis off because he was like, shouldn't there be more purpose to our killing? What he really longed for in Lestat, he literally found in Armand. But he couldn't love it because he's broken. And in being broken, he breaking people all along the way.
Brittany?
I totally agree with Bearer of Men. I don't think that Daniel was in a safe spot. And I think that Armand came in and saved Daniel because he knew that deep down inside, Louis did not want to kill Daniel. He just wanted to, I guess, shock him or scare him or get him to understand that this is not what you want. You want to be a human. You need to love your humanity because I wish I could go back and be a human again.
I don't think Armand is wasteful. No. I don't think
What do you mean?
he's not wasteful. Well, okay. He's ancient. He's an ancient apex predator. I'm thinking 15 steps ahead. Okay. I'm gonna need this for something later. We're gonna hold on to it.
That's exactly what it is.
He has all these powers. Can he tell the future? Is that a power that he has potentially?
I don't think that's a power that any of the vampires have. I think that Armand, however, is old enough to be able to know human behavior and to know certain things.
I think he has insight, not foresight. So,
right.
So H-Town Fifi, your Valentine says, when you get out of a toxic relationship after sometimes you miss the person because of human conditions, you forget how bad it actually was and you miss the toxic nature because it was quote unquote fun. What are your thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts on that. So that kind of sums up what I was thinking about with Louis in the first place. I said, boy, Louis like a crazy motherfucker, right? Because Lestat was crazy as hell. But then over time, we're starting to see how Armand, even though he didn't show it at first, that motherfucker is probably even crazier than Lestat. And so it's almost like he's drawn to these toxic motherfuckers where he's just like, oh, that's what I love. That's what I like. And it does make him feel like that. Like that's what was love to him. However, in this episode, when he goes completely off on Armand, and Armand says, like, you've never said this type of hurtful stuff to me. He says, you are so boring. You are so boring. And then once we really see who Armand is, that he's really crazy, I think that kind of is going to draw us that back in because he's drawn into that toxic stuff.
Lestat or Louis?
Louis. Because we learned that in this episode, Armand is just as crazy as Lestat. Louis may not have known that, but he knows it now. And as we dive into like the more towards the end of the episode, where kind of Daniel and Louis kind of approach Armand, we learn like, oh, you really are crazy. That he had been planning all these things, which is why when Elia says he's strategic, like he's planning this 15 steps ahead. He is.
You crazy?
So,
I don't like that.
So stay with me for a second. After Daniel walked through Louis' forgotten memories of him ultimately running outside into the sunlight, it is clear to viewers that Louis had no memory of this. This is my question. Why did Louis run into the sunlight? Why did he want to kill himself? Let's go to Brittany. Why did he run into the sunlight? Why did he want to kill himself?
He was high as Cooter Brown. He did not know what the hell was going on. He was just like, woo, son. He was high. He was doped up. cracked out on all the drugs that Daniel was on, high as fuck, didn't know what was going on, but at the same time still depressed.
They
And
gave him
still
the confidence to do it.
Right.
Lord gave him the right. He was like, you know what? You're mad at me. I almost killed somebody. I'm going. I'm going to the sun.
Okay, exactly, all of that.
Look, Valentine, your Valentine, you're
I
always
love
like
this
several
with
questions
this
ahead.
point.
I'm gonna
I
stop
like this
showing.
point. I like this
I
point.
love
right
you,
here.
Valentine.
Yes.
You Kendrick Spears, because you see it. You see it. Because let me tell you. He don't love Armand until Armand show him he will fucking kill him.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Kill
not in.
him and everybody he's fucking with. Everybody. He's like, oh, I will end us all tonight and I'll start from scratch. When Louis says, I love you.
That's because Louis is toxic, like we've been saying.
Yes,
He is not in love with Armand. He's in love with the idea of Armand.
Not the real Armand that he sees. He's in love with the image of Armand that he got in Paris.
You
The
need
tortured
somebody
boy.
to levitate you and then drop you out the sky. That's what
what
you
he
like. That's your speed.
It is not healthy.
multiple times.
But it feels good.
I actually feel sorry for Armand.
Okay, speaking of, let me ask this question. Did the drugs make Louis say all those things about Armand, or were those his real and actual thoughts? Hell yeah, hell yeah.
He said exactly what he'd been holding on to for decades. And so when he was gone off the peyote, he just went ahead and put it out there for him. You boring.
Peyote don't make you do that, baby.
No. You lowered your inhibitions by being souped up on all them drugs, so you said what you really wanted to say. And you said it with your chest before you ran out into the sun with your crazy ass.
I don't think he felt like that. I felt like he felt like hurting somebody today. He woke up on one after he tasted that good coconut blood.
Louis been going through the motions. He been going through the motions.
Have you ever talked to somebody on coke?
Think about it though. I don't disagree with you just saying all kind of stuff.
That ain't liquor, baby. That ain't liquor. Have you ever talked to somebody on coke?
They not right in the head.
No, but with Louis in particular,
they're running to a moving vehicle talking about I'm stronger than the world, and then all of a sudden they crippled. Come on now. I don't think
it's true. It's true.
I remember Louis
ain't being drunk.
Louis drank blood from Daniel. He could have had coke, liquor, and everything in between. Probably even fentanyl before it was night.
Mark up that backgammon board and said, "What you want, chow mein or chicken?"
What's my point? I think he meant that he was born. That part is the only part I think he meant. I think that Louis was at that point still obsessed with Lestat.
And still is.
You know what it made me think about? Do y'all remember in season 1 where Louis went to Woods to get him some from his childhood friend? And then we see later on the boots on the side that Lestat was sitting there watching it the whole time, right? It was like a thing that they did, right? And so with this one, we learned that Louis Daniel was not the only guy that he's done this with. Now, Daniel is the only guy that has been spared. But he's done this to 500 guys, which
just 5. Daniel was the 5th.
No, but then Armand comes back and says, like, you are
500.
He names
128.
Okay, so 128 people. If you was really that much into Armand, why do you have to keep doing this here with different men? If you weren't bored, I think he really was. I think he meant that. I don't think it's because he was high. I think he really meant you boring as fuck.
Well,
I think he's boring. I think
in such thing as a monogamous vampire, though. I don't know. I don't
they
think
wasn't being monogamous. They was piping down other people. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Was Armand there when this piping was happening?
He wasn't. No,
he was not. But he knew about it.
I feel like this. Hold on. Ooh, somebody else is saying.
Oh,
I am a mad vampire.
I love it. Onyx Crown, yes.
And I would have been on the same shit. How many times we gonna talk about Lestat? Huh? How many times? Huh? This your last time. No.
He's like, stop playing with me.
But listen, but wait though, y'all. I think there's a
You
piece of this
called
that
me
we forgetting
boring.
about, because right after this, he talks about where Armand actually talks to Lestat. So he knows where he is. He knows he's let him know what the state that Louis is in and everything. And so
Mhm.
he is
He
deliberately,
was, of course,
while saying, "Oh, I'm talking to Lestat," he's deliberately showing him, "Oh, I'm talking to the man that you quote
You
unquote
love.
can't
So
keep
you
up."
over him, huh?
Right, you're over. I'm sitting.
I
there
got him on the
talking to
phone right now.
I'm gonna
him.
call
He's talking to me.
him.
We
Louise,
talking.
what Louise say? No.
You want to know what he said? I ain't telling you.
Don't talk
I
to him.
wonder, does he ever tell him that though? Does he ever tell him what Louis was saying in his head?
Hell no.
No.
That's my man.
No.
I ain't telling you none of that.
No. Hold on one second. Hold on. All right. So this is what's happening.
I
So,
think he was druggies too, Valentine.
So you're going to teach me how to be fascinating. So this is Armand talking to Daniel. You're going to teach me how to be fascinating. In the background, we hear sinister music to highlight the tone. Psychologically, what is happening to Armand, Brittany? What is happening in this moment when he's asking Daniel? You're going to teach me how to be fascinating.
It's kind of like a cynical moment where he's looking at him in his eyes, but he also has this desperation where he's like, look, bitch, my man just told me that I'm boring as shit and that you're exciting. So I need everything that you got in you to put into me so that I can be exciting too. But as I read your mind, you put a bag over a chick's head in middle school and said, the only way I'm gonna have sex with you is if you put a bag over your head. So while she's crying, you're sitting here having sex with her. So that makes you entertaining. You sold your dad's pornos in middle school too. Oh, in high school you sold your dad's pornos. That makes you entertaining. So he's sitting here picking him apart, but at the same time realizing that you are not that interesting. I am Armand. I am the shit. And you gonna sit here and tell me that yo lame ass is entertaining? Fuck that.
Can I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think that he thought he would. I think it was sinister. I think it had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that he thought he was really sinister. Entertaining. I think that this just exposes how dark Armand can go. And I told y'all, I will rename my mad, upset, in love alter ego after Armand. Baby, he not shit. I think that was one of his moments where he was so far deep, he was so far gone with the comments that, because I do believe Louis was just high out of his mind. And I don't think every drug speaks a sober mind. I think some drugs give you Teflon skin, and you say wild shit like you don't know you can get your head decapitated tomorrow. You and whoever you was with.
So
I think in that moment, it was him exposing, being, like you said, being cynical. I think that he just wanted to expose Louis in that moment for his choices. And so while he was diving into Daniel's mind, he was exposing and belittling, because the whole time Louis listening.
Yep.
I think he was belittling Louis. It never had anything to do with Daniel. It had everything to do with Louis. It was like, oh, you're gonna teach me how to be interesting. My man just told me I'm boring. I'm boring. So let's get into you.
That's right,
You know,
Natasha.
I agree. I think it was more so the jealousy.
oh
I think
yeah,
it was
I would have been jealous too. It would
I
have been
think the
like,
jealousy, the hurt.
in me. I haven't even showed you what I can do. Let's
Okay,
have a
there,
party.
man.
Let's have a party in this mother. Then I'm
Yeah.
gonna take this whole party out. I'm gonna expose my lunacy because everybody's playing with me in this moment. I'm gonna call him out. I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call everything out because everybody got me effed up in this moment. Like, he's weak, you're weak, everybody's weak. I'm the bomb. You lucky to have me. You peasant.
And it's like he's trying to convince himself of that too, because remember in the last episode, Luke Armand tells Lestat that he loves him, and Lestat's like, "Yeah, I love you too." Meanwhile, a whole week later, he gone. And then when Armand finds out, oh wait, Louis was the love of Lestat's life, and then even in this moment where Lestat is telling him, like, tell him I love him, tell him I love him, Armand is like, well, damn, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I think it really did hurt his ego, and he was like, what the fuck?
Full
Like, so
circle
you still
moment.
love this nigga
He
too?
got sold off by his family. You know, like he got trust issues.
Hell yeah.
He got sold off by his family.
Hell yeah.
It's I'll kill all of you.
Your Valentine said, he said Daniel was nothing but a hole.
I cackled at that too, your Valentine. The way I was in here laughing and guffawing at the screen when he said that, because that's what Daniel was acting like.
What are your thoughts?
Daniel was acting like he was a hole in that apartment.
Well, I mean, there's a double entendre there.
Yes.
You know, I love a good plot twist and a good double entendre. Nothing but a hole away. One, okay, you're supposed to come up here and just smash him. Or we could look at it like, hey, he human, he's nothing. I can go ahead and toss him aside, bury him right now in that coffin you was trying to smash you in, and be done with him.
Listen, the kind of love Armand had been pouring into, he got rid of his whole, clearly, where is the coven? He got rid of his whole coven for Daniel. I mean for Louis. I did all this, and you still worried about this BAN word after all this time, and then you gonna look me in my face with your vampire eyes that I could pluck out and call me boy with this weak drug addict you done sucked up? Oh, I'm about to embarrass you, and I might kill everybody in this room, really.
H-Town Fifi.
I'm unstable.
H-Town Fifi. It was kind of mentioned earlier, but I want to ask it a different way. Despite Armand's anger, he still takes care of Louis. Why?
It's kind of like the mother who intentionally makes you sick so that they can take care of you, so that you think, oh, they just love me so much. You know, it's one of those type of syndromes, I think.
Munchausen?
Huh?
Munchausen?
Yeah,
I feel like that's what it is. Yeah. He's doing that to make Louis see, like, see, I'm still taking care of you, and you still think all of these horrible things about me. I don't trust Armand now. I love Armand because but no, I'm starting not to trust him.
I get it though. I get what she's saying, because it's almost like, because of the things and the calculating nature of Armand, you don't really trust anything that he does at this point, right? Because you think it is all just to get at his end game, right? Or whatever he thinks it is, right? So I get that. But then same time too, I think he honestly does love Louis, right? And so he just wants to take care of him for an extent.
What they say, Jermaine?
What?
Sir, I got these comments. Let's take them one at a time because I don't want to miss nobody. So this, your Valentine. Louis called me boring. Do you find me boring? All right, so that's one. The next one. Your Valentine also says, I don't think you could have verbalized that I love you. You could see Armand starting to say the words, but couldn't. I don't know if I agree with that, your Valentine. But anyway, Natasha says Armand and Louis should have just broke up, but again, Armand's ego. Anything to one up Lestat. This is the one that I like. This is the one that that had me right here. Onyx Crown, 500-year developed Nightingale King. Love it.
Listen. How hard do you love if you're a 500-year-old vampire? And you already love him.
Armand is over 1,000.
He's over 1,000.
And you got abandonment issues.
Yes, that's it. I wasn't gonna say it. I wanted y'all to understand it.
He got abandonment issues. Okay.
And this is just unlocking something. He's just like, he about to leave me, or I can't let him leave me, or I can't,
No, he was gonna he was gonna do something, because he was gonna be.
He snapped.
He let him be childbirth. He could have helped him. I'm gonna say it in a good New Orleans accent. He let him be childbirth for a while.
Armand invented the game of chess. Y'all just learned how to play.
Right.
But you know what? It makes me also think about the fact that whenever Armand came back from his hunt and Daniel brought up the stuff that he asked Louis, Armand literally said exactly what Louis said. Like, I don't think Armand, I think Armand was listening to that whole conversation the whole time.
He probably was 5 blocks away and reading his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Intrusive.
Maybe I'm crazy.
It shows us that we really can't trust Armand.
I don't think we were ever supposed to.
I think Armand might be the only one you can trust.
No.
First of all, you can't trust Louis. As much as I love his fine ass, you can't trust Louis.
Well, he got multiple personalities, so one of them you probably can, but we don't know which one.
We don't know which one we're talking to right now. We don't know which one is which, poor thing. We don't know.
I agree, Animal.
Y'all ain't gonna do my Louis like that. Y'all ain't gonna do my Louis.
Wants to make his point to Louis. You need me, and he let him suffer.
Y'all ain't gonna do my Louis.
He let him sit there charbird.
Here's the thing, though.
Louis
I mean, we got a
begging.
lot of Louis hate, but here's the reason why. And this, everyone says the same thing about Louis. People, fans of the book, we all rehashing the same thing. Louis is just miserable, and that is his role in the vampire story. It's like everyone, Lestat constantly talks about how Louis is just constantly miserable, you know, being a vampire. And in this show, we can kind of see and unwrap why, right? Why?
Just walk into the sun already, for real then. Bye. If he's so miserable.
I think he did it on purpose. I think he allowed him to do it. Kind of like Lestat in what was that, episode 1, episode 2, when Lestat let him walk outside in the sun. He let him do it. He knew where he was going. He could hear it.
So you keep being the same person over and over again.
Sizzle with your silly ass.
Grand Rising King.
Good morning. I want to be human so bad, but can't be. Listen, Linda.
Onyx Crown, I totally agree that I think he let him do it on purpose. He knew exactly where he was going.
He knew, because let me tell you something. You're not gonna call me born to my face. You're not gonna sit up here and show your butt to me.
Okay, sunshine.
I am. I'm the whole son in this situation. I'd have burned his ass up. Who you talking to?
And let him stay burnt.
Who you talking to? No, I'm gonna play with you. I'm gonna be just like a diary of Mad Black.
That's right.
I'm gonna keep you alive to teach you a lesson. Who you talking to?
I don't think that has the effect that he wants to do. So that's why he makes him forget and forget the story, right?
How does he make him forget though? Because he doesn't have power over him, right?
I think Louis asked him to forget. I do.
I don't think so.
And I think he's gonna play victim right after, because he's such a damn victim. I don't think he even wanted to remember he talked to Armand stupid like that.
I don't think that. Just in terms of the drama, nah. For the drama, that can't happen. That can't happen, because that would be like for those people old enough. You remember Dallas, when 2 or 3 seasons it was just a dream. Oh no, we need the drama. But anyway, I got like 3 more questions left. All right, so when Armand describes the moment when Louis' book is revealed, so he's kind of like he's talking about the future, right? And Lestat reads it knowing that Louis is alive. It basically reveals that at least a part of Louis is interested, and the reason I said that is because Louis didn't respond. At least a part of Louis is interested in still having Lestat in his life. How does that change things for Armand in that moment? Do y'all remember this was after he gave Louis the blood, right? And so he's talking to him, and then he asked that question, and then Louis doesn't respond. How does that change things for Armand? Let's go with Brittany. We haven't heard you in a while.
Okay, so I feel like Armand is honestly upset, even more upset, and kind of disappointed, because he's like, I've been with you this whole time. I've been loving on you. I've been sitting here supporting you. I've been here for you. And you gonna sit here and still want to know what's going on with Lestat and hear from him? And then Louis is like, that's my maker. You mad at me, but that's my maker. It's not a love thing. It's my maker.
Okay. All right. Hell yeah.
I think Armand asked that question full well knowing the answer. And you can read him. You can absolutely read him. I just want to see in this moment, as you are char grilled and within an inch of your life, if you still gonna sit here and lie in my face. That's
And
what I
he did. And he
Like I
did.
can't read your
Looking
mind.
like a toasted weenie.
H-Town Fifi, your thoughts?
I think that, you know how I think that Armand is onto something. I think that he said that to get Louis to kind of admit, like, you still want Lestat at some point to know that he's still consuming your entire mind. It's just like, you know how you post a meme or something on Instagram and it's meant for one person to, like, you want that one person to know you're talking about them, even though you don't at them or anything like that. And they're just supposed to know that you're talking about them because you want them to be like, so why are you talking about me or whatever? I think that's how it is, because even Louis even said, yeah, but all I did was talk bad about him. But Armand is like,
but you talk.
You're talking about him. Like, every part of everything you're saying is about him.
I've
It's
been
like
with
he
you
knows
almost
he's
100 years, and you ain't talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough, man.
You've been with this man 100 years, and you still ain't talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do, I'm boring.
Because you love me. You ain't obsessed with me. I want to be you. I want somebody to be obsessed with me. Why you not obsessed
With
me?
him.
So, Corey, I want you to answer this comment. Y'all, we got some comments coming. I want Corey to address this one. I believe the book is his "Come to Me" song. Like in the first season, Lestat made the song and put the girl's voice on it that made him swim the Mississippi. He is trying to get a rise by saying all that. What are your thoughts about that?
I kind of agree with that. I do. I kind of think that the whole reason why he wants this story to be told and story to be put out there is um, a way for him to say, I still want you. I still think about you, or time has separated us, distance has separated us, but I'm still looking for you. I really do believe that. I really do think that the book is an underlying motive. Yes, he wants to tell the story, but I also think that he wants to reconnect with Lestat, because obviously at this point in the story, they both know that Lestat is still alive, right? And at some point in time, they have to connect again. And we know from the books that, eventually Louis and Armand are not going to, I don't, were they
Fair
together?
enough, man.
Real? Yeah.
I
I think
feel
we're gonna,
like that is true. I agree. And I feel like that is why Armand wants to dribble his ass from San Francisco all the way back to Paris, where he met the punk ass. So you sub tweeting a man on me? Without permission too. He didn't even know he was gonna do all that. So you sitting around sub tweeting a man in a whole novel about your contempt for him. I will bounce you from here and the writer from here all the way back to Paris and drown you all along the way. Keep playing with me, nigga. I'm telling you, Armand had a keep playing with me moment throughout the whole episode 5. You gonna keep playing with me, and you gonna find out who you playing with, and I'm gonna kill everybody up in this goddamn country.
Is
Because
it just
Armand crazy.
is it just me, or did it seem like his eyes were even redder this episode?
they
Like,
Yes.
were. He
He
was
was
angry. Just,
He was mad.
he was
It was
mad.
He
weird.
was insane. And that's why I liked him, because I was like, I be getting mad like that too.
All right, I've got more questions. There are more comments. I want to get to the comments and I want to get to the questions. All right, so I want to go to H-Town Fifi. He was my maker. There's this is Louis saying this. He was my maker. There's nothing more. What just happened here? All right, so I want you to go back into the episode. So when Louis is telling Armand, he was, he's my maker. There's nothing more. What happened?
I
What
do
is
remember him saying that. Wait, go ahead.
what is being communicated?
I think he's saying he's my maker. I'm always going to remember him. Like we're always going to have that connection because he's my maker.
Lestat's talking to Armand in his mind.
Right during the time, like right after he stopped talking to Lestat. This is what's happening because he put his hand on Armand as if to say, "Hey, I'm here. I love you. It's not about Lestat. It's about you."
But that's not true.
Game.
It's not.
All right, so let's go to Mina Ruth. Oh, I'm sorry. What you got?
I feel like he asked him a good question in that moment. Like, am I going to have to live 100 years on suicide watch? Because, like, basically letting him know, I'm not about to play with you.
It could be homicide instead.
I had to run outside, although I can withstand the sun at this old age, at my big age, I can handle it. But I had to go take you out of the sun from being charred, broiled, and like, do I got to watch you 24/7 because you want to die behind some man that dropped you from 1,000 feet in the sky, hundreds of thousands, and let you fall to like jelly onto the ground? I got to do that because I could leave you here with dang. Swear to God, drain you dry. You and that pump.
All right, let's go to Mina. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to Mina Ruth. When Lestat officially comes back into the picture, he and Armand are going to be fighting over Louis. Is that a thought or is that like fact? Because I haven't read that far.
I feel like
I think it's a thought.
I think it's a thought because I don't believe that in the books it's a little different, and I don't feel like Louis and Armand were together in the books. I really don't.
So maybe. I'm certain your Valentine was responding to something that we said. Okay. He was yelling directly at the recorder. Animal Overlord says, I think Dubai is some sort of prison for Louis, keeping Louis safe and away from Lestat. What are your thoughts about that, H-Town Fifi?
Let's see. I think Dubai is some sort of prison for Louis, keeping Louis safe. I think it is. Because this is my thing. If Armand can communicate with Lestat, that means Lestat has potentially tried to reach out to Louis at some point. And so this is a way for Armand to keep him away from him.
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't think so.
I'm not going to say nothing. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go to Brittany, then we're going to go to Erica. We're going to go to Brittany, then we're going to go to Erica. Brittany, what you got?
I don't think it's a prison for him. I think it's more or less an escape from their reality. Like, he's not in the mainstream world. He's in Dubai, away from everything. But I don't think it's a prison necessarily for him. I think that's his like sanctuary.
Barrettman?
I don't think that it's a prison or anything like that. I think that it's a comfort place for Armand. Armand is from Delhi. Delhi is in India. More people that look like Armand live in India. I think that's the only purpose, to be honest with you. But I don't think that Louis is in a prison because he asked him straight up, are you asking me when he spared Daniel, are you asking me as maitre? And he said, I'm asking a room. No, I'm telling a room. Because I think that when Armand is in a relationship with somebody, he's giving them choices. Giving them, it's up to you to be with me. He said, I'm telling, he was like, you asking me as maitre? And he was like, no, I'm telling a room.
When you say choice, do you mean forced choice? Because
no, forced choice. I think it's one of those situations like we all know I can end us off and I'll still be alive. Honestly, not us. I can end you all, and I'll still be alive. But I'm in love with you. I'm all powerful. Hold on, I think you guys. I don't. I don't think that Louis is being kept safe. I think Louis asked to forget because he didn't want to remember all the horrible things that he said to Armand. I think that Armand in that moment could have ended Daniel's life, and when he didn't, and he gave Louis a choice, like, if you asking me as your leader, yeah. And what did Louis say? I'm telling you as your lover. And so he was like, I cool, whatever. He let the dude live because yeah, he sees the importance in him, but not like the same way, that Louis did. But if you value his little punk ass so much, I let him live, whatever. Like, if it'll prove my loyalty to you in this relationship, yeah. I think that we just sometimes forget. It don't matter, and this is me being human in this moment and casting human qualities on like fictional things, but I think that sometimes we forget, like, when you deeply in love with somebody and you got more than them, you're more than them. In every sense of the word, Armand is more, has more, provides more, can do more than Louis. You know what I'm saying? Even he can do more than even Lestat. He's with one of the most powerful vampires in the whole stratosphere.
I don't think Armand is that
He's
powerful, but
giving
he's one of the
him,
older ones.
he's giving him a choice in this situation, the same way Lestat gave him a choice to become a vampire, and Louis still regretted it. I
So I
don't think
disagree with you, but let's
that
we
Louis.
got some other comments we got to get to. So your
Okay.
Valentine says the book goes back and forth. At some points, they end up in a throuple. They just playing games for century. Your Valentine also says I agree, animal overlords, but I think it goes back to Armand saying, "Am I going to be on suicide watch for 1,000 years because Armand controls the windows in Dubai?" Also, Mina Ruth says. It's my thoughts. I'm not quite certain what you're talking about. It's been a minute. Your Valentine says Louis and Armand are together for some time in the books, but after Claudia, Louis couldn't handle being with him, so they separate. Natasha also says Louis is the reason I was so frustrated with the first book. The whole "woe is me" gets old after a while. He should not have been made a vampire. Onyx Crown says, "Do y'all think Lestat would show up in Dubai? There
Ooh.
was something in one of the latest trailers that reminded me of him." I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to spill this tea. Yes, Lestat knew that Louis was alive, but he decided that he wanted to allow Louis to live his life.
Mm.
That's what would happen. All right. So also your Valentine,
Sweet.
I do agree that Armand does not oh, I didn't click show. I do agree that Armand does not deny Louis a lot of things. He gets his way pretty often. Armand really could just kill Daniel and wipe Louis. Mina Ruth also says, I was talking about Lestat and Armand fighting over Louis. Let's go to Brittany. Brittany, we haven't heard you in a minute.
What's
I have this question for you. So at the end of the episode, well, the end of one part of the episode.
mm-hmm.
Why did Louis save Daniel's life?
I think I remember that part when Armand was biting on Daniel and Louis came out of the coffin and was shaking and walking and wobbly, and he was just like, "Stop. No, at some point I'm going to need him." Something like that he said. At some point he's going to be important. Is that correct? Was that right, y'all?
So
I don't
Louis,
remember that.
so basically he was asked, like why do you want to save him? And Louis was just like, as a testament to our relationship. That's what he said. But is that
I
is
don't
that how he really felt?
I don't think that's how he really felt. I think that he just wanted to save a human's life. I don't think he had anything really invested into Daniel enough to bond with him to say that this person is important to me. I think it's just a human that he wanted to save.
Corey, your thoughts?
I think that I agree, but I disagree because I do think that the sheer way that whole situation went down, and there was something about Daniel that Louis liked, right? So for that moment, for that reason alone, I think he wanted to save him because he's the one who brought him there. right? It was Louis that really brought Daniel into the mix of the whole situation. So I think he was trying not to cause another human to, to suffer or whatever that he actually liked. He didn't care because, many times they've done this and, whatever happened to the person, right? But it was something different about Daniel. And I think he was kind of trying to protect Daniel in that moment because there was something about Daniel that he did like, right?
Your thoughts, Elia?
It's not that deep for me. It's more surface level. Like Louis just like toxic shit. So even though Daniel is not a vampire, he is still toxic in his very own way. So that's attractive to Louis. I want him around. I like him.
He saw himself in Daniel.
Daniel's a fuck boy. I like him.
Sign me up.
Hey, sound Fifi.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there's some very toxic parts of Daniel. And I think that Louis just likes that for whatever reason. I don't think that he was just like, oh my God, he's the best person ever. Let's just save him. There was one thing that he said, whenever he was mad at Armand, he said the few hours I spent with him have been the most exciting than the last decades I've spent with you. So it's something about Daniel that intrigues him, that enough to make him say, I don't want you to kill him.
All right. So, for the most part, we're done with the comments. I'm done with my questions. This is what I want you all to do. I want you all to talk about whatever it is that we have not covered that you would love to talk about. Right? We still have some people with us, so go.
I think that he was gripping onto power. If you're with a powerful person who can do anything, control he 1,000 years old, bro. Like maybe at the time he was 900 and some change. But like he old as hell. He can do anything he wants, but he chooses not to. All this time he could have wiped your mind clean of Lestat. He still gives you free will. He wants you to want him on your own because that's what the real shit is. And I think that the whole time, all he's waiting on is for Louis to choose him.
But Louis is not going to choose him.
No, I think that he wants him to. And in the same instance, it's like him begging for the guy's life, him begging him not to talk to Lestat. Oh, where'd he go? I'm gonna keep going. Him just begging in general. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to take control unless he has to or he's asked to.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I do because he has shown that he is willing to do whatever in order to get what he wants.
Honestly, I think Armand could have whoever he wants. He just wants Louis. But he wants Louis to choose him.
I don't think Louis would choose him wholeheartedly. He's never going to choose anybody wholeheartedly because there's a piece of unresolved business between he and Lestat. And so until that business is resolved, I do not think that he can make a choice.
And I don't think that Armand accepts that.
Right.
I think he's still leaving room for choice. That's why I truly believe that he chose. I think that even though Louis doesn't remember, he chose to forget that. Because all of this, all up until that moment before he lost his memory, he let him have it all. He let him have everything.
So what you gonna do when it comes out that he did not know that he was
being? I ain't gonna do shit. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna still love him. I'm gonna be like, oh, bitch, hey.
I have a question though.
That's who I am.
Is Armand allowing Louis to give this interview just like what is the purpose?
I don't think he knew the first interview was an interview.
Okay.
I think he knew the second interview was an interview and he allowed it because it was a wrap up. I don't think he knew when he left that he was going to do all that talking to Daniel, because he didn't know that Daniel had stuff put on his computer. I don't think he knew that Daniel talked to the telemat. I think I'm saying it, Talamasca. I think that back then, though, he was giving Louis choices. And because he wanted to be chosen, because he's abandonment issues. I think he wanted to be chosen. But like now, he just serving what he think that's what we was doing. I'd go hard to the end too, if that's what we said it was gonna be. And I didn't know that somebody revealed everything that was going on and was gonna blow our stuff up, because like the whole time he could have been wiped Louis' mind clean, bro. He could have took Armand, out the equation. I mean, not Armand. Armand could have took that out the equation a long time ago. He never did. He's so powerful. It's because he just was allowing this. He was allowing a lot of it. In my heart, I truly believe that he gave all these choices, he's given all these choices, and it's blowing up in his face.
That's real.
Anyone else?
I will say 5 has been my favorite episode, though.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too. Oh my God.
It's like a crescendo. 3, 4, and 5. Oh my God.
It got better and better and better.
I really like how at the end they came together, Daniel and Louis, and looked at Armand like, "Oh, hey, bitch. So we know what you did."
You see how he looked at at Louis when he said, "No, I'm telling you." He said, "No, Arun, I'm telling you, let him live." And he was like, because he was like, "You asking me as matron?" And he was like, "Arun, I'm telling you." And he was like, "All right, bro. So you're gonna pull that card. You're gonna pull that card. You're gonna pull that card. Whatever. Like, all right, I'm gonna let you have that." And that at least that's how I interpreted it. I don't know if that's what it really was, but I'm internalizing it that way.
I'm curious to see what happens next with the relationship between Daniel and Louis coming.
You was gonna act brand ass new. He never said nothing, no matter what goddamn you did say. Now you need to start from the beginning, baby.
All right. Oh, I didn't realize I posted that. Naya, right now, all we've recapped both episodes. All we're doing is just we're talking about whatever it is that we might have, missed. And so, if there's something that you want us to talk about in the comments, let us know. Elia, you said no, you didn't have anything. I don't know, Brittany, did you say you had anything?
Oh no, I was just talking about the ending part when they came together and confronted Armand. That was it.
All right.
I do have a comment, not a question. I do not love how the episodes end. I do not love it.
They just end out of nowhere.
Don't care for that, but the episodes have been good. I will say that it's still not doing the Mayfair thing, so I'm fine with it. But the way that they're closing out these episodes, it's not even like, oh, cliffhanger, I'm excited. It's just like abrupt.
Like, see y'all next week.
Yeah, I don't appreciate that, but I just had to get that out. I don't love that.
All right, y'all. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. We've had fun. Thank you all so very much. Let me get this together. All right.